So, we're a few hours away from league start right now. Wanted to do a quick last minute video, not too much super interesting information in there right now, but probably you're sitting in queue right now anyway by the time this is online, so you got some time, right? Three topics for now, maybe four actually. First topic, I hope you have a really cool league launch. Hope you have a really good time and everything goes well for you. Good luck. Obviously, I hope I didn't make too many mistakes for everybody that is actually going to use this guide, right? That would be cool if I didn't fuck up. Just updated it, so you can get it now in the newest PoB for community fork version. So it works with 3.20, so the actual Whispers of Doom is in there. So that should be all fine and dandy. Notes got a bit better, cleaned all of these up a bit, and what I wanted to talk about real quick is phase 4. I've also written it somewhere up there. Phase 4 is really experimental, okay? Don't take this as a goal, really, unless you know what you're doing. The guide still ends, and that's also why it's default selected at phase 3. So make sure you select phase 3 everywhere, or at least always select the same phase, right? And that's where the guide is meant to end. Which is, that's the idea. But to have a quick look, it's like an experimental version of phase 4, like a possible need to test this version. So if you change everything, then obviously damage goes completely through the roof. It's not even funny anymore, it's like more than double. Main difference here on the tree is actually, it's definitely lethal shade. I think we have other things as well. But we go for making really use of double curses. We also get these nodes here, and as you can see, this would be a level 99, which is very, very high. I would highly recommend it at this point. If you're at this point of investment as well, you are gonna swap away from Alira. Latest here, you're gonna have to swap away from Alira. There's no point in not going kill all. Anyway, so that's pretty much still very similar tree. In terms of skills there, let's start with the items first, because that's the interesting part. We even dropped the shield now. We go away from the comfy, easy, cheap version to having an actual shield. So shield is different. Here we need the spell suppression there. Essentially, well, at least we can get some spell suppression there. That helps out with the whole spell suppression issues there. It's a nice shield, I would say. Not too expensive. The gauntlets, they're the main piece, essentially, that were required, right? Because with double curses, I'm not going the route of casting 2 curses. Like, I'm never gonna, I just don't want to cast 2 curses. That's really dumb. So I went with the route of having 1 automated and having 1 self-cast. And if I understand correctly, then it's way better to self-cast the spare than temporal chains, because temporal chains on auto application, the auto application one will only be level 1, and it doesn't really hurt temporal chains at all. So it's better to have that at level 1 and have a level 20 or 21 or whatever the spare to self-cast, but you can't get that as a ring. So it's essentially some uniques, I believe, might give you that, but that doesn't work out. Or you get a corrupted gloves, and getting like temporal chains corrupted gloves with spell suppression live and things like that, and even maybe a focus mod, right, is a bit unlikely. This thing is probably very expensive, but the main interesting part about this, if you can solve everything else somewhere else, is the automatic cursing, right? So that's basically the idea. Also, I threw in an amulet that is actually more expensive than the other one before, like a +1 amulet with damage over time. Still main source for me to solve intelligence, can be somewhere else. And we need an extra socket for the curse. In order to get 2 curses in at the same time, we kinda need a socket, I believe. Yeah, we basically need a socket. If I'm not crazy, then you're gonna probably need a socket, so might need to be an unset ring there, something like, life cares with something like that. So since we swapped the shield, you're also gonna get in trouble with energy shield. So that means on a few of these pieces, they just have energy shield, more energy shield, and we end up with 470. This might not even be enough to like comfy cast everything. Also, by the way, if you see like that the new PoB tells you don't have mana to cast your stuff, just not true. Eldritch Battery still works. It's just not taking into account that we are using ES. Right? It's probably a new feature here, and something went wrong. So we are not using mana, and for some reason PoB doesn't know at this stage. Might be a bug, might be something like that. But that's like basically a bit of the idea, right? So also here I made sure to do all the quality. Is there anything that actually has more quality? I mean, some stuff has alternate quality. I kind of forgot where. Yeah, there's some divergent there. That's like minor stuff, right? Grace probably could use some quality as well, right? Okay, area of effect doesn't really. Okay, that actually doesn't matter in this case, I feel like. So yeah, that's experimental curse case phase 4, right? Just stick to 3. It's gonna be a while until we get there. I will get the chance to update it to figure something out. Second topic will be a bit about Atlas passives. This is the old tree. I know probably an hour or so by the time you're seeing there's some new trees out, but I'm not talking about specific tree. Also no secrets here, right? There are no secrets. I'm going to talk about this, and then next I'm going to talk about what I will actually do for League Start, right? In both things, no secrets hidden. So if you know what you're doing already, then you're free to skip unless you care. Early progression or overall tree progression. I essentially always do the same thing, or that's what I recommend. And this is not about how to make the most money, super fancy stuff, right? We are talking about straight like progression-based easy mode, no fancy currency strategies, and that's gonna be right. So first, we want monsters in our map early, I feel like, and we want map sustain, both for the same reason. So I'm gonna just shoot up straight here, grab some strong boxes. I'm gonna grab some shrines, right? Then you have these 1, 2, and here's number 3. These are all like more chance to have the map a tier higher things. There's a 4th one here, but I feel like 3 of these notables, I think it's called, seems to be enough, right? And I also go through the Keurig stuff for Keurig missions. So that's like the basic, right? Go up, take 1, 2, 3, go through Keurig, shrines, and strong boxes on the way. There's also June stuff. I like to have like these easily accessible June things early on, just to spam Betrayal whenever I can. That just gives me all the unveils. I'm not even talking about farming one of your diadems for yourself, right? That's not the point. It might accidentally happen, but I'm not gonna go for a below level 70 Katarina farming strategy. I just want more June, so I have all the crafts ready to go. Something when we have map sustain kind of ready, you can obviously have more strong boxes here for more stuff. You have these shrine nodes here, which are also really cool. They just make life easier. To be fair, like it just makes mapping easier. You get more shrines and you get mini buffs. It's very beneficial in my opinion. So I think it's just worth picking up. Next thing is essentially, or maybe I don't even go up there, probably take these later, but in general, shrines and boxes, map sustain, you can start blocking stuff here, right? And especially with Stream of Consciousness, you get quite a lot of the League mechanics you want. I'm gonna go over which ones I block and why in a second. And then it's about actually choosing mechanics. Essence, overall, it's always kind of cool, I find. I really like Essence because it helps you crafting gear. You obviously can sell them, especially very early on. But to be fair, it's not on the map device, so it's questionable if you want to spec into Essences. It's a lot of points. Not having it on the map device, I'm not entirely sure. It also depends how the new tree looks like. Maybe we could go even deeper and it doesn't matter. Questionable choice this league, to be fair, since it's not there. The other mechanic I'm definitely gonna go for is I'm gonna fully invest into Expedition. There might be some more somewhere, right? Is this also Expedition? No, it's Sacred Grove. Whatever, spec into Expedition. That's gonna be my core mechanic. I'm gonna run every map. Obviously, League mechanic as well. So with the blocks, Stream of consciousness, expedition, and the basics. That's essentially my basic tree, and that's already like, I don't know, 80 points, 90 points. That's a while into my progression, and then you can pick any other mechanic that you want. Talking about the singular mechanics, breaches are kind of okay, and there's only respect to the specific playstyle, right? So yeah, breaches can be okay, but they're kind of big and they take a lot of time, and you have to swap the location where the monsters are a lot, so that kind of sucks with Seismic a bit. So not a big fan here. What are you? Abysses. I don't really like Abysses, but it's fine with Seismic because it kind of stops at these locations, and then you can throw a few traps there and kill everything. So if you somehow like Abyss, should be cool. Expedition. Really like Expedition. It's a very contained area. It goes step by step. You only need like 1-2 traps per stop of the thing. Everything overlaps. Really good for Seismic, I feel like. Sacred Grove, I'm also gonna keep in. Probably at least. I'm gonna spec into it, but it's kind of nice early on. It's also easy to do. Again, patches, right? With monsters, you go there, you activate it, you plant your Seismics, and then you will see that it's a good mechanic for that. Legion, way too big. Like if you pop the Legion altar and then there's monsters everywhere with a timer, and then you only have so many Seismics to cover a huge area, it's really not that good. I don't think it's great to farm that. On the other side, Ritual is kind of okay. It's a bit long, so it takes a long time until all the monsters come out. So yeah, kind of meh, I feel like, but you can absolutely do it. I don't see why not. Not the best, probably. Blight, I don't really like, but works well with Seismic. Works perfectly fine. You only have ideally just a few sides where monsters come from. You throw a few traps, and very quickly Blight turns into a tower defense anyway. If you go into Blighted maps and Blight Ravage maps, then check out some guides for that, but then the build really doesn't matter anymore. Overall deals well with it. Also quite tanky. We are typically, at least later on, quite tanky. So we don't really die in there either. You can absolutely pick that. That's Delirium. Seismic is fine for Delirium. Again, a mechanic I don't really like. It's like, yeah, not my cup of tea, but it's just like stronger monsters everywhere, so it's just mapping experience. You should be fine using Seismic there. Metamorph. Probably Seismic can deal well with. They can, if you spec into them, they can get incredibly tanky, I find. So I really dislike the mechanic, but others do like it, and I don't see why you can't kill the encounters with your skill then. Rogue Markers, I typically just leave it in. Doesn't really feel like it's a huge benefit to take it out, and you still get some Rogue Markers and contracts. If you don't want to deal with that, just take it off, right? A lot of people don't like it. So that's in terms of mechanics. That's what I'm going to do outside of Expedition. I said I'm going to pick some other mechanic. Harbinger is probably also pretty cool this league. People say at least should be perfectly fine with Seismic. Again, very confined area. Takes a while until the things come out, but it seems cool. It's cool to me. Don't see why. It just takes a lot of time for me. I don't like picking up shards. Not my cup of tea. But should just work out fine. That's the basic tree. Other than that, just choose any other mechanic you want to farm. What I'm gonna do, maybe with that we get into the part how I'm actually gonna start the league and what my actual plans are. And in terms of Atlas, fully focus on Atlas progression. Getting basically to this state here, minus essences. I'm not gonna do essences. I'm gonna pick anything else, but there's quite some time. I'm gonna run like 80 maps until I'm at this point. I'm just gonna pick and choose. Maybe I'm do some harbingers early on to get like this bubble gum currency if it's in reach, something like that. But that's essentially my Atlas progression. Other than that, I'm totally fine doing just Expedition and maybe the league mechanic and just instantly spec into something else that I need for the challenges. Can already start working on challenges if I don't have anything else. But in terms of money, I don't feel like I need anything, because I'm just gonna play probably until phase 3 of the build, dabble later with a phase 4, so I don't need huge amounts of currency. Most of my currency spending will be into completing, like buying stuff I need to complete challenges, not into actually making a expensive character. That's not what I want to do with this game anymore. So yeah, that's that in terms of Atlas progression. In terms of what I otherwise do, let's start at the beginning. I will be leveling, obviously. It was very loud. Was that very loud? I just made a plop thing. I'm sorry. Depending on my mood, I'm getting sick, as you might be able to hear. And if I feel kind of a bit low later on, I'm going to take a slow start. And that means I might actually go Helix just to see how it feels, right? Because I'm sure you can still get through leveling, but it will be slow, possibly. So I might go Helix if I feel kind of low. If I don't, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna try Poisonous Concoction start. Not exactly the version from here, a way more speedrunning version, just to test how quick I can actually do it by now. And gonna kind of speedrun this whole thing. Also, because today's Friday for me, so I'm gonna have a few hours until like bedtime, right? And on the actual day one, Saturday I always count as day one, Sunday for me, day two. These 2 days I will probably be mostly unable to play because we have family stuff going on, which is cool trade-off. But that also means I'm gonna have a late start into actually mapping. So everything, will be quite delayed on my end, which also means either I take extra time and go something like Helix and just don't care about the market, or I knock out leveling as soon as I can. So on Monday, I can hop into mapping right away and don't have to finish campaign. So one of the two things, probably the speedrunning thing. And with that, I'm gonna blast through to Act 9 and gonna farm up level 62 in Blood Aqueducts. That's also where I'm gonna swap to Seismic already, but after the Blood Aqueduct farming. Because if you do a Blood Aqueduct running for levels, then Helix is way better for that. Don't get mistaken. It's not Helix, Poisonous Concoction. To stick with Poisonous Concoction is way quicker. So swap after that. I'm only gonna level the gems there. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna go on full SSF thing, so I'm not gonna path down to Toxic Strikes. What I'm gonna do is it's pretty much this, I would say. Maybe a slightly different tree. I might take Whispers of Doom super early just to see how it feels, because I want to try. Can't really recommend doing that, but yeah, I'm gonna not take this probably. So yeah, I'm gonna adjust a few things just to be a bit speedier, which I cannot recommend anybody else to do, but I wanted to share what I actually do. The guides are more what I would recommend to a friend than what I actually specifically sometimes do, just to get that out of hand. I will be picking up contracts. So it means after Blood Aqueduct, I'm gonna get the rest of the skill points and everything, get the third lab, and then I will be running Heist. Not endless, so I'm not gonna de-level or anything. I just run the contracts I can get while running it, in order to collect a bunch of currency. Especially since I'm gonna be late on actually doing that. Right? It's probably already deep into the weekend. Stuff will be very cheap, I can imagine. So there's no issue anointing this, like getting a single crimson. That's not a problem. Like 2 days into the league, that's super cheap, no problem. Obliteration, super easy. And Deerstalker is also super easy. So I will come out of Heist with a basic set of equipment and can dive directly into mapping, map completion, do the standard route. I'm gonna do this thing here, right? Gonna start working on this and get towards expedition farming. With that being said, it might also be very possible for me, in this case, where should we look at? Maybe here, to more or less not skip phase 1, but spend very little time in phase 1 and already prepare phase 2. So like from the get-go, I'm not gonna care what's on my shield, I'm not gonna care what's on my helmet, on one of my ring slots, or actually 2 ring slots. I'm gonna directly work on items in the other slots to be powerful enough so I can swap in the unique items whenever I want, and I don't have to do like a in-between phase, because I'm going to be so late that everything is going to be so cheap. That should be fine. I might skip a 5 link pretty quickly into a 6 link, a corrupted 6 link with the right colors, maybe even
already get a corrupted 6 link with the non-live tab colors and already just quickly spec into, where did it go? Into spec into Eldritch Battery, or get a really, really cheap borrowing the item. I'm gonna have a look at the market after I did Heist in order to judge if I can immediately somehow skip into a phase 2. But it's like inconsistent and it's kind of weird, and that's not what the guide is about. I just wanted to let you know in this case. I think I talked about everything. I think that's kind of it. Nice, cool. Guys, have a really cool league start. If you get any questions, and especially if you find like major errors in the PoB, which I really hope they're not there, that would be very bad. I mean, the main goal is that people have a good time, nothing else. So that would be really cool. In case you find something like that, or you get some issues and questions, hop by the Discord. I'm obviously going to be around. Maybe not the next 2 days, day 1, day 2, I might be a bit unavailable, but there's a ton of people now. I think there's like almost 100 people sitting around, and I'm sure you're going to find somebody that can help you out on this whole thing, if in case you encounter any issues. And as said, if you find some major errors, please let me know so I can fix them for everybody else. Cool, that's it. Bye-bye.